All right, tonight it's just gonna be laid back, gonna be nice and easy. Everything's good.
Easy squeezy.
Lemon peasy.
Speaking of, I made more lemonade.
No.
Damn you, woman.
Yes,
No.
it is. And I saw Uncle Paul, and we talked about Minecraft. It was fun. Okay.
Did you call him Uncle Paul? Because I want to believe that we can all call him Uncle Paul now.
Well, that's a
by the
thing.
way, I have started the stream. Technically, we're not up yet, but so
That's
he's Joel's uncle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I've been confused about exactly how that works so far, but
Yeah, his
okay.
kids were there, and we were talking about Minecraft because they were buying Minecraft toys, and I told them how to get diamonds, and it was really funny.
They found the right person.
I read on r/gaming, I think today, some guy said he got his like nephew to go out and help plant stuff in the garden for his grandmother by telling him you could play Minecraft in real life.
I saw that. That was so funny.
That's good.
No, I think it's more sad that that a kid has to be convinced, hey, that digging in the dirt thing, you can do that in the real world.
Adults can play Minecraft too, still, right? Right, guys?
Hey, let's make this live and talk about it.
It is live.
Oh, is it?
Just
Yeah,
on the splash screen, yeah.
yeah, we're
Oh.
doing a rolling start this evening.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of rolling
cool.
starts, what's up, you filthy casuals? This is Casual Shenanigans Gaming, podcast about everything PC gaming related. After last week's major technical train wreck, this week is nice and easy. Just keeping that blood pressure down, just keeping everyone nice and cool.
I liked last week's start. That was hilarious.
You should have been on the other side of it and all the editing that came after it. I'm sorry the podcast went up late, guys.
On Tuesday, 2 days before this podcast.
All right, Dave. I thought it was Monday.
No,
was
it was
Monday.
Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
For you, baby.
You uploaded the video to Dropbox at like 11 p.m. on Monday.
Oh yes, my video was up on. The
important one.
Well, I had a lot of work to catch up on. Not all of us can just be like, peace, and leave their employers, okay? So anyway, I'm one of your hosts, JERMgaming. Tonight we have a little bit of a lineup change. Joel couldn't make it. Didn't tell me why. James couldn't make it. James has legitimate excuses. Life is busy for him at the moment. But screw you, Joel. Instead, I am joined by Dave, the not-so-evil Viking 13.
I'll also throw in a screw you, Joel, for good measure.
As is our custom. And we are joined by the drunk ghost of Debbie.
Drunk
So normal.
I would like to add in a third screw you, Joel, to that.
Yeah.
Just because.
3 screws to the pile.
Just keep twisting that screw. Yeah, this week we have a nice relaxed, low blood pressure podcast. You know, not gonna get stressed out about anything. Not gonna be worried about anything.
So this is a good week for gaming, by the way.
It is it's a good year for gaming. After the crap storm of a year that 2014 was, like where it felt like everything you were excited for just punched you in the face over and over again.
Yeah.
So far this year, it's almost inconvenient how good this
is.
year has been. Like, seriously, right now, I was playing Far Cry 4. It was going really well. And then Total War Attila came out. I was like, I got something else to play. And I played that. And then City Skylines came out. And then I started trying to play the Witcher games again. And then GTA 5. And then Project Cars came out. And I'm starting to feel like stuff isn't going to get done.
It's like this dump truck backed up into our computers and dumped all these cool games, and we can't even hold all of them.
And happiness just exploded all over your face.
Oh.
That's some graphic happiness.
The graphics are great, Dave. They are fantastic.
4K happiness.
It's 4K happiness.
We're going to segue into what are you playing this week. We're going to do that first this week. Because I feel like there are some significant things to talk about. I'm going to go first. I obviously have an agenda and just want to talk about the thing that I'm interested in.
Today, Jeremiah sets himself up to talk more.
Hey, if you want to host one night, you can talk about whatever you want, all right?
Carry on.
All right. So Project Cars came out. And it is gorgeous. It is one of the best looking video games I've ever seen. In particular, the cars and the tracks. As with all racing games, the people in the background look pretty horrible. But that's kind of a custom. I'd almost be disappointed if a racing game came out and the people in the background looked good, because that would mean they were taking precious polygons away from all the cars and tracks. But it came out. We knew it was going to look gorgeous. We assumed it was going to be pretty system demanding. It isn't. As
Yeah.
it turns out, it runs better on NVIDIA cards than AMD cards because NVIDIA helped with the graphical side of development, but I'm sure there'll be drivers out. Game-specific drivers will drop in a couple days, and that advantage will pretty much go away, as it usually does. But without spoiling too much, yes, there is a Potato Masher video coming, and things run pretty well. Just to talk about... Not to talk about the Potato Masher, but I'll talk about my computer. With everything turned up as high as it possibly can go, at 4K, in clear weather, I can get 45 to 62 FPS. I was running it today, and that was the range I was getting, 45 to 62, with everything all the way up. And then when you turn on weather, the weather actually is fairly demanding on your system, and it can knock it down to like the 30s. So... that's pretty demanding, but it looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's interesting that the weather knocks the graphics down that far. Segueing again, we'll circle back around to the what are you playing this week. But on the PS4, people will actually be able to adjust graphics options, which is one of the first times a console game has had adjustable graphics. You can turn on and off the weather effects, the certain parts of the weather effects, like the sun glare, the like chroma effects, just lots of visual distortions and like post-processing effects. You can turn them on or off. And it's good that you can do that because on the PS4, Digital Foundry has been extensively testing the graphics.
They have more options to tweak. They're in trouble.
and they were running with the Xbox One and the PS4 with the maximum number of cars allowed in rough weather. So the worst situation you could possibly get. And these game is supposed to run at 60 FPS on both consoles, and it was running in the low 30s. So, which is the same thing we saw on the PC. It's not a dig at the consoles. So the game allows you to wreck the experience a little bit. The game is still fine at 30 FPS, but it's obviously better at 60. But yeah, it's really cool. So expect a Potato Masher video coming in sometime in the next couple of weeks. We have got a lot of videos queued up to do for that. So it's going to kind of be a mad rush for the next few weeks, hopefully getting those done. All leading up to The Witcher 3, which hopefully that video...
Yes. Just say the words is all it takes.
Hopefully that video will be dropping in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from tonight should be The Witcher 3 video.
So you're planning on dropping it like immediately?
No, that's 2 weeks. It comes out the 21st, which is 2 weeks.
I mean, a 1 week turnaround time. That's pretty quick.
I'm hoping a week and a half. I did that for GTA.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this isn't more demanding than it can't be more demanding than the GTA video.
Yeah. At one point, you were sending me and Joel like multiple drafts a day.
Well, I recorded all the footage and then got good enough at optimizing the settings. I re-recorded most of the footage, and then I recorded another 3 hours the morning of, just to get certain things I wanted. So, yeah, maybe went a tiny bit overboard on that, but it's given the internet something to complain about. So.
Yeah, they needed some more of that.
Yeah. But yeah, so what else are you guys playing this week? Debbie, let's start with you.
I think my list of what I'm not playing is a lot longer than what I am playing. I have been playing GTA nonstop.
There it is.
How many hours in are you?
64-ish.
And how much
Wait.
of that is in online versus single player?
It's all online. I haven't done
And-
any of the single player.
Okay, so this is like you've spent as much time in online as people spend in most RPGs. How are you liking it? Like, are you getting tired or bored with it yet?
It's impossible to get bored with that. I've tried. Like, I set forward to it. I'm like, okay, let's try to exhaust this game, and it just keeps getting better and
The
better.
game exhausted you.
Exactly.
I mean, we're only like halfway through the heists.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a tenth of the cars I want.
When that news story popped up today where Rockstar's like, sorry guys, like heists are pretty difficult to make. We probably won't have new heists anytime soon. I was like, oh, thank God.
But
please,
we
Rockstar,
haven't
have
even been able to
mercy.
get you into a heist yet.
I
Do you
know.
want to try again tonight?
I know. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. But,
Maybe.
and since Joel's not here to do time codes, we're just going to jump all over the map with what we have for tonight. Talking about GTA 5 and like the amount of time
But
we've been spending in
what
it.
about
No,
Dave's
we're
playing?
coming back around. We're talking about GTA 5 at the
I want
moment.
to talk about mobile games.
What?
Said no one ever on this podcast. Carry on, GTA 5.
No, don't worry. It all circles back around. It's all,
It's all casual, one could say.
So people have been asking, what are we supposed to do with all this extra money? Like, if you pre-ordered especially, you can buy the best cars there are. Why do you need money? Why get more money? Why grind through to get tons and tons of money? In my case, it's because I didn't get pre-order cash because Rockstar screwed me over. So I need to buy cars and I need to earn. You know what? Daddy got to eat.
buy some shark cards for $60.
No, I'm good. But people have been asking, and Rockstar says they are working on. They hinted that the name of it will be Ill-Gotten Gains, but they're working on a new expansion pack, and the teaser screenshot shows what appears to be a classic automobile with like a diamond for the hood ornament, and then a Desert Eagle handgun with a bunch of like gold inlay on it. It basically looks like the Mexican cartel pack.
Yeah.
This pleases me.
Relevant.
But yeah, so they've said they're definitely working on new content, which you could figure they were going to do anyway, because like they for GTA 4 there were 2 major story DLC. They added content to that. They've already added a decent amount of content to GTA 5, and there's a massive amount of content there. I mean, for a $60 game, compare this to pretty much any other $60 game, they could be charging like $10 a month for GTA Online if they wanted to.
It could be a separate MMO. It really could be.
There are people like me, and probably you guys too, who have been playing GTA since they were like 12 or, to 17, as the box says. And you've been wanting this whole time to run around with your friends in Grand Theft Auto. Like, that would be the greatest thing ever, is Grand Theft Auto with a bunch of your friends. And it actually has come out in our lifetimes. This is an achievable dream. And not only in Grand Theft Auto, but what I think is the best Grand Theft Auto ever has this mode. Yeah. So it's just like, I
don't know about you guys, but I used to play GTA 3 and tell my parents it was a driving simulator. Whenever they would walk out of the room, I'd like divert off the road, like run over like 1,000 pedestrians, like get back on the road real quick. And like if they would walk by when I was like shooting somebody, I'd like bring up the map, like, I'm just checking directions on the old map here.
Did you
back
on
to
your
murder.
PS2 or on your PC?
PC.
PC? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget, GTA used to be a huge PC franchise.
Oh, like, it definitely was.
It's finally come full circle.
It became definitely known on the PlayStation platform for quite a few years, and then it swung back into multi-platform and then back to the PC. But yeah, it's that series, probably for any game series, that series has changed more than any other. Like, it went from this simple like top-down car theft thing to, I don't even know I mean, it's an RPG now. Basically, it's a story-based action RPG with a huge MMO like multiplayer component. Like, I mean, honestly, the MMO part of the world is probably bigger than most MMOs. Like, it's an incredible game.
Let's not forget about the video editor and the mission creator. And you can just go to your apartment and drink with your friends.
Debbie's never forgotten about that.
It's more fun in real life, guys.
But when we can't hang out in real life, we can get our real life drinks and just hang out in an apartment and drink in virtual reality. We're in the future.
And not only that, but GTA supports mods officially.
Yes.
People ask them about it, and they've said, we have always appreciated the creative efforts of the PC modding community, and we still fondly remember the awesome zombie invasion mod and GTA map mods for GTA 4, among many other classic mods. To be clear, the modding policy in our license has not changed and is the same as for GTA 4. Recent updates to GTA 5 PC had an unintended effect of making unplayable certain single-player modifications. This was not intentional. No one has been banned for using single-player modifications, and you should not worry about being banned or being relegated to the cheater pool just for using single-player PC mods.
That's good to hear, for sure.
Our primary focus is on protecting GTA Online against modifications that could give players an unfair advantage, disrupt gameplay, or cause griefing. It also bears mentioning that because game mods are by definition unauthorized, they may be broken by technical updates, cause instability, or affect your game in other unforeseen ways. So there are there are people online who've claimed they've been banned for single-player mods. Do you think that's true, or have they been cheating with other mods for multiplayer and gotten banned because of that?
Rockstar said they said in the release that no one has been banned for a single-player mod.
I mean, they could have been a lot more fuzzy about that. Like, we're looking into it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
They were pretty clear. We've ripped into Rockstar enough lately for some of the dumb stuff they've done with the launch. So we can extend a little bit of olive branch as far as the podcast is concerned. It sounds like they're on the right side here. And I would take anyone who says they've been banned for single player mods, take it with a grain of salt. And it's possible some of those people don't know they've done something wrong. If they've downloaded someone else's mod, it may affect online and they're not aware of that. That definitely could happen, so I'm willing to give anyone the benefit of the doubt, but Rockstar, they're pretty clear that they are not banning people for that, so I'm going to wait a while before I play with any mods just to be on the safe side, but...
Like DayZ, when cheaters got caught, the first thing that happened was all the cheater forums got together and said, guys, you gotta cry wolf, you gotta sound the alarm, tell people that you're getting banned for field of view changes and all this other stuff. They want to muddy the water and get people angry and try to get those bans reversed. And that was a concentrated campaign, apparently. Just like when DayZ added the active battle eye and like, what was it, 24,000 players got banned in a week. All the cheaters were like, guys, like I didn't do anything. I just logged on and my character was gone and I was banned. Like they took my game away from me. Like it's all Bohemia's fault. And for a while there, like Brian Hicks was like replying to individual complaints on like Reddit and saying, just checked for you. Nope, you got busted. Like he was calling them out personally one by one, so it was pretty delicious. It's the same thing. Like they want that confusion and anger. It helps the cheaters.
Speaking of DayZ, you guys see this new game that just released, GoatZ?
Yes.
Goat Simulator? All right. Can one of you give like a good overview of what GoatZ is?
Debbie, you got this?
I have no words for it. I really don't. You're a goat. You with
It's a
weapons.
mod for Goat Simulator. It's a standalone mod for... Well, no, it's not standalone. It's DLC for Goat Simulator.
Yeah, yeah.
Which you can buy together right now for $8.39 for the two of them, which may be enough for me to do it because I haven't bought either yet, I don't believe. But yeah, so you play as a goat, but you're an undead goat. And their tagline is... That's right. You found the only survival game on Steam that is not in early access. So the survival zombie genre has become so meta now that we have meta games making fun of the fact that none of those games have actually released. And that, I mean, there's some truth to that. Like, yes, this is a poorly working, you know, tiny little mod, but it's fun. It's funny. It's a little indie game.
It's supposed to be broken a little bit. Like, it's part of the funniness.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed... for their trailer for GoatZ, they riffed almost frame by frame the original DayZ early access launch trailer from 2013. Like the title screens, like it looks so close. Dean Hall retweeted this thing as soon as it went live, and H1Z1 devs were going crazy over it too. Like everyone just loves it. Like it is such a good riff on the trailer. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no one feels attacked. Everyone thinks it's funny. And fortunately, the internet didn't blow up about that. Speaking of which, as we're just flying through news items here, I don't know if you've been to the DayZ subreddit lately. I can't even go there anymore. Like, it just, the detritus in that subreddit is ridiculous. The amount of people who are so personally offended that Dean Hall, since he wasn't working on the game anymore, is officially not working on the game anymore. I mean, people are saying, like, that guy, like, because he's announced he was going to be on the PC Gamer E3 panel. I think that's a great idea. Dean Hall brought a PC mod to the cultural forefront and turned it into a powerhouse out of nowhere game that, yes, hasn't released yet, but millions of people are playing it. Like, it has a bigger way more people are playing this than most released multiplayer games. So I'll give him a little bit of a pass for that part.
I have to drop this one, Jeremiah.
Sure, go ahead.
DayZ's been in a bit of a slump recently because everyone's waiting for the 0.56 patch. Huge changes coming the next few months. I mean, just huge changes. So DayZ's player count, like night to night, has dropped like a 40% or so, like a pretty big drop over the last month. There's still about 24,000 people per night on weeknights playing DayZ. There are about 1,000 people a night playing Battlefield Hardline. Early access DayZ, and its low point. Well, everyone, like, you go on Reddit, everyone's like, yeah, I'm waiting for 0.56. Like, it should be really good. Just waiting to build my camp again. You know, everyone's waiting, but still, 24 times the player count of Hardline.
Yeah. It's a shame. Actually, it's a shame for the team that worked on Hardline.
Let me segue briefly into an EA earnings report. This is going to be an exciting news item. This isn't actually in the news.
Earning reports has a lot of things you say. This is really cool. I'm like,
goody.
Sure, continue. Tell me about the polygons.
What blew my mind about EA's earning report is that Hardline got very mixed reviews. It's like 71% Metacritic, right? Battlefield fans didn't love it. It's just kind of there. It's all right. A lot of them have gone back to Battlefield 4 already. The DLC, a lot of the premium stuff is not out yet. DLC isn't due for months still. 1,000 players a night playing already. It's dropping like crazy. It's not a great success. In fact, by a lot of accounts, that would be considered a failure, right?
Right.
Financially, though, Hardline has still saved EA for quarter 1, 2015. It sold enough copies that it made up for their dip in sales last year because of the Battlefield Hardline delay, and the lack of Battlefield sales. Like, they had no shooters last year, basically, besides Titanfall which was quarter one, right at the end, I think it was last year for Titanfall.
Yeah.
Was that just last year?
Yeah, dude, that was in a quarter one.
Yeah, so like Hardline, while being not anything super special, and honestly, I do kind of feel sorry for the guys who put a lot of work into it that's not doing that great. At least, it's paying the bills. And the interesting part is that even with no one playing it, they've got a huge amount of content coming DLC-wise, because Hardline is basically their monetary pipeline for shooters until Battlefront. So,
which will sell a lot of copies, no matter how much everyone complains about it. Unless that, like, I don't even know what could be so bad about that game that it wouldn't sell like 5 million copies.
The earnings report
first 2 days
is estimating, they're saying that there is like a 90% chance that last gen consoles aren't going to get Battlefront, which makes sense finally.
They shouldn't. Cut them off. It's time.
It's going to cost them millions of sales, obviously. But EA said in the earnings report that even without last gen consoles, they're estimating 8 to 10 million sales in the first quarter that it goes on sale.
Not bad.
So, but yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, the kind of dichotomy between like a game's quality and the fact that it is just, keeping the lights on. So,
and there's something to be said for that. People like fuss at Activision for milking Tony Hawk to death, Guitar Hero to death, and then back to life. New Guitar Hero coming out for anyone who didn't know. Milking Call of Duty, their partnership with Blizzard, milking WoW to death. By the way, WoW has lost 3 million players this year so far.
Hey, yeah, that's nuts.
So people give Activision crap, but think about it. They're one of the companies, they're successfully doing what EA and Ubisoft have tried to do. And they have annual franchises that make them tons of money because they don't take crazy risks. For everything you hear about Call of Duty, like this one, look at the crazy new stuff they got this year. It's not that different. It's a really tight 4-hour campaign, and it's the same pretty tight multiplayer you've been playing for like 8 years. And they iterate it on it and release it every single year, and it makes them tons and tons of money. And that's what they've done with all their franchises. They will drive them into the ground with good, not incredible, but good versions of the game because it makes them money, because this is a business. And EA is trying to do the same thing, but they're almost, I feel bad for saying this, but they're giving too much creative license to their studios for what they're trying to accomplish. Like, they're obviously, that's what they're trying to do, but they're letting them experiment a little bit too much in that formula. Battlefield 4, if to fit in within EA's vision, Battlefield 4 should have been Battlefield 3 with 2 years of polishing, and that's it.
Yeah.
They should have tried to expand.
It was too bloated, way too bloated.
35 weapons. Like, they should have just iterated on Battlefield 3, and it probably would have been a big success. I mean, it was a big success. So it's just a business. You can't be mad at them for doing it. If you don't like, Battlefield or Battlefront or whatever, don't buy them. But millions of other people are. Your voice will be lost in the woods, and no one will care if you boycotted it or not.
Speaking of their creative freedom, honestly, I think a big part of the problem with Hardline, besides some of the issues that just weren't overcome before the launch, like the just awkward driving physics, I think one of the big issues with just the game design overall is that they started out with creative freedom, like, hey, let's try this new idea, and then like stopped about halfway to creative freedom before they should have. It's like, let's only take this a little bit past what we had before. I think they didn't take it far enough, and so it's like in this awkward gray area between old ideas and new ideas where just everything's just average. So,
and that's kind of the problem, is like Payday does a really awesome job at the whole cops and robbers thing, but Payday will take risks that Battlefield probably wouldn't, like, because Payday is a smaller, more independent game. They can be a little darker and a little more profane and a little more a lot of things that Battlefield probably is a little shy to go towards. Which, I mean, it's not like the Battlefield of today is anything like the Battlefield of yesteryear. They really should just rename it and call it something else. Like, I don't think you could argue that Hardline would have done worse if it had been just called Hardline and released as its own standalone thing. Like, there aren't that many people playing it. So for the next major Battlefield game, it's kind of a disappointment. So it would have been less disappointing if it was just a standalone cops and robbers game, probably. But
I agree. Yep.
Back to what are we playing this week? Dave, what have you been playing?
Wait, I want to know, Debbie, is there anything else? Like, just anything you've been playing besides? You played Arma.
Oh, right, I did once.
Because we played it a group mission and you just kind of showed up.
I didn't willingly go in.
Didn't we play GTA immediately after that mission too?
Yep, you did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Oh, does that really count?
it
Does
still
it cancel
counts.
it out? Okay.
That was like an hour and a half of Arma in between GTA sessions, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, for me this week, I guess it's technically last week now, I beat my first mobile game all the way through, Monument Valley.
You really wanted to talk about mobile games.
Yeah, I mean, good
Oh.
mobile games, like
Good, all
real mobile games. Like
How did you discover Monument Valley?
through the Unconsolable podcast when we had him on. What was that, like 6 months ago, 7 months ago now?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it had been on my list for a while, and for some reason, Amazon sent me $20 of Amazon App Store credit. So I installed the Amazon App Store and got a bunch of stuff, including Monument Valley, which was, I think, $5. Really, really good. I think Debbie John said he beat it too. He was telling me, and he felt like it was kind of short, but it was like 6 hours, I think, in total, maybe 7. It's hard to tell with a mobile game because you pick it up and set it down and pick it up and set it down. But for a mobile game for $5, I think that's plenty of value. That's for the quality of the art and the sound and the gameplay. I can't say I got my money's worth because it was free for me, but I wouldn't have felt bad about paying $5 for the 7 hours of gameplay. So yeah, if you guys have not played Monument Valley, I've been hearing about that game for a while now and finally dug into it. It's good stuff. Outside of Monument Valley though, what else have I been playing? I mean, GTA, and then Arma, along with the Arma 3 editor again, and now the GTA 5 editor. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Dave.
Gosh, did I play
Have you been playing
anything
any
else this week?
DayZ lately? Like, have you touched it?
No, I'm waiting for the 0.56 patch along with everybody else, because there's gonna be like a hive wipe and stuff, and it's gonna be a huge patch. So,
Do you know what's going to be in it?
yeah, and I can touch it up briefly if you want to. It's a lot of technical stuff, inventory refactoring.
Ooh, that's your favorite.
They're changing.
Making such a big smiley face, like he's so excited for whatever that is.
I wanted to see the look on Jeremiah's face, just the
Inventory
blank
is
look of
love.
Inventory
is life.
refactoring.
refactoring. The they wrote a new script language for DayZ instead of SQF that Arma 3 uses, which is nice. It's got tons of features. I've been learning SQF on and off from doing missions now. I can actually remember some scripts by memory. I'm sure my scripts are pretty inefficient, but I think one in the mission on Monday got stuck in an infinite loop and killed Ben's computer, I'm pretty sure. I think it was the snow script got stuck in an infinite loop, so that's probably my bad. But the DayZ team is writing their own script language to replace the old one, and they're also taking as many things as possible out of scripting for DayZ and putting it into the engine, the Infusion engine. So the inventory is part of that process. They have a completely new inventory backend system that will make it so that you're like putting things into your hands, it'll actually like still be in your backpack, like or something like that. Like the slots are reserved. Like the inventory is going to work like you would expect it to work, basically. You'll also be able to rotate things in the inventory, and basically they'll have a lot more control, and the inventory will be more modular on the back end for them. Outside of that, we should have a updated version of the global loot economy that actually works this time. It was like 60% working in the last patch, and like 40% of the servers just did not work, and they decided that was not good for the stable branch and pulled it. But the next version should fix that. But yeah, just lots of technical backend stuff. No renderer yet. That is still due for experimental sometime around the end of May. But this should be a big patch that should help a lot of things feel a lot better. The hotbar, thanks to the inventory refactoring, should be functional for the first time since launch. So that's exciting.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, but
saying.
they've removed the hotbar system, like it's gone.
I'm excited, Dave. Yay!
Things will start working again.
We'll see. I'm not trying to be like a sour grapes, but
I mean, I wouldn't expect it to work like 100% out of the gate, but like this is the appropriate way to go about fixing things: is remove the broken systems and replace them with systems that will work.
yeah. But I've heard that it was going to get better several times, though.
Now, Dave,
Oh, the hotbar, yeah.
when you say removing broken systems, why don't they just redo the whole thing? Because when you build upon a working system, chances are there's going to be bugs and lots of crashes, and it's just not going to work right. Like
Yeah.
John has explained to me several times that if you just take a website code or any code for any software, and you take out chunks of it and you put in new chunks of it, it's going to not work. It's going to still resemble what it has before. So in my mind, that's what DayZ is doing. How is this going to be different? And how is it not going to, like, just totally crash and burn?
There was a really good post that the team did late last summer when they first announced the Infusion engine about, like, at what point does an old engine become a new engine? Like, how many of those broken chunks do you remove and replace before you're left with just like a framework, and it is basically like a new website or a new game engine? And we're in that awkward in-between stage where it seems like they're just like throwing money and time at the wind, and nothing's really getting done. And everyone always says, like, you know, why do they stick with the Arma 2 engine? This is an awful decision for DayZ. I think doing it in the public eye was really the only mistake. I think this engine still is the best fit for DayZ. And I think the improvements that this engine is going to bring to the Arma series is going to be really exciting too. It's just that this is a really awkward process to do in a public alpha, and because you've got customers that are playing things that go from broken to more broken to completely broken to a little bit broken to broken again to starting to improve, and we're still a ways off from things, you know, feeling like that we're actually playing a product that's coming together. But I think the way that this engine works still really is the best fit for DayZ. I'm looking at stuff like I'm really excited about Squad Game, a kind of Arma-like shooter inspired by Project Reality that's coming out soon. But I'm looking at some of their early alpha stuff, and you know, their animations are smooth. They have just slight amounts of desync, like all that stuff is good. But whereas those are some of the Infusion and Real Virtual Reality engines in Arma's weaknesses, Arma Engine's strong points are things like draw distance and scale, and ballistics and stuff like that. And that's where Squad looks weak right now. Like, draw distance is not great. There's lots of pop-in. LODs don't look good. The terrain at distance looks like a game height map. It doesn't look like an actual map just yet. And I'm sure it's going to improve, but I think there's definitely an argument for the team sticking with what they knew and what was established.
But is DayZ a better game with the super realistic ballistics and stuff? It's not supposed to be a war game. Does it make DayZ a better game to have that so closely modeled? Or would it make more sense to be on a more forgiving engine that was a little more arcadey? Because, like, why couldn't you have the hardcore survival elements and then just knock down the combat some, make it a little more simple? Because with the amount of desync and stuff we have now, it's not like the advanced ballistics are helping you much. Yeah, you still do a ton of shooting and don't know if you've hit somebody or killed them, or like, it's still pretty gray. I mean, I'd take hit scan over the current system just because that would cost a lot less in resources. So I'm still, I still have yet to be convinced that this engine was the right long-term move for the game. But I understand why they chose it, given that they already had it and they're just rewriting it to better suit their needs. But I'm kind of on Debbie's side. I think if I was going to start DayZ from the ground up, in hindsight's 2020, but if I was going to start DayZ from the ground up, I think I would want it to be on a more arcadey engine. Just so more of the systems could probably work and they wouldn't be as realistic, as opposed to super realistic but not really working that well, so ending up not being that realistic.
To go back to your question, I think that the ballistics were a big part of the mod because it was just brutality. The fact that you could die so quickly and that you could play for hours and hours and hours and lose everything so quickly, like the tension that it added, I think, was a huge part of the mod. I think you're right, though. They have gambled and said, this engine long term, we want these elements, this style for our final game. That has not paid off yet. We don't know for sure it's going to pay off. I'm pretty confident it's going to pay off, but it's not going to pay off yet for still a while. I'm
pretty confident it's going to pay off one day, but that's my concern. Is I already don't really want to play DayZ that much right now, just because of the state the game is currently in.
Because you're right, you can't enjoy the cool ballistics when everything's desyncy and you're dying on rocks. Like,
I want it to be good, but with the amount of stuff coming out this year, man, if a major DayZ patch was released, I think I could go spend 3 hours in DayZ, maybe everything will work, maybe it won't. Or I can play GTA Online. And right now, like, for fun per hour, GTA Online is going to win. So, I mean, they're running into the very real risk. There's still tons of people playing it and people buying it and stuff, but there is an end date on this game, whether or not they know it. I mean, I'm sure they know it's coming, but at some point it's going to be not relevant, or it's going to be finished, or both, but it's going to happen.
That brings me to my last point. To answer Debbie's original question, I think I can answer it a bit better like this. In 2013, when they went from, hey, let's package the mod and sell it to it's going to be a standalone game, and they relaunched development, they were estimating like maybe 250,000 lifetime sales of DayZ. They thought that, all right, the hype's over. It's still like a small market. There'll be buyers, but it's not going to be a huge game. So the entirety of 2013 to when Early Access launched in December 2013, the plan for the team was take the Arma 2 branch of the engine, because at the time, Arma 3 was not finished yet. So that version of the engine was not ready to be developed on. It was still in progress. They said, let's take the build of the Arma 2 engine that's stable and that we know we have documentation and developers that are familiar with it. And let's make this game off of that for 250,000 sales and just get it out there. And they wanted to just basically tack on DayZ features onto that engine. It was going to be clunky, but it was going to be quicker turnaround, and it wouldn't be a huge investment. But then DayZ launched, and they sold literally millions of copies, which was not what they were expecting. So that decision was made in Q1, early 2014. Hey, this is going somewhere. We have the resources to do this right. And they said, well, we're already now a year and several months into development. Like, this is our engine. We're stuck with it now. What should we do besides just keep tacking things onto it? Should we start ripping stuff out? And that's when the decision was made to become the Infusion engine, to rip stuff out, replace the renderer, and then come to PS4 and all. That was all decided in March, April, May of last year. So it wasn't so much like they set out saying, hey, let's take this engine and replace most of it by the end. It was like originally, hey, let's tack things onto this engine for this small game we're going to make. But then it exploded, the scope changed, and it was just too far gone at that point. And I think it's going to come back around and be worth it in the end, but it is not the most efficient development process for sure.
Mm-hmm. And to respond to Ashto in chat, he said, it would be nice to see you guys play DayZ, but I can understand why you don't. We've not given up on DayZ. Don't take anything negative you said to me. DayZ has been a huge part of our channels, and it will be again. But we don't want to milk DayZ to death like some people who their whole channel is built on it, or they stream mostly just DayZ, and they have to play it every day because that's what people want. We don't want to do that, because when we bring you DayZ content, we want it to be really, really good. So we need to wait until the game can facilitate that.
So it's not just Debbie starving to death over and over again.
That's why we cut our Breaking Bad series a little bit short this past time. Was we got into it a couple episodes, and then we just had to have a couple hard talks about it. We decided that, hey, the game just isn't there right now. Yep. It's not what we need, and we'd rather not do videos about it than make crap. Because a lot of you guys would watch the crap, and you'd upvote it, and you'd like it, and you probably would enjoy it, but we don't want to make it right now. So thank you for being patient. Moving on. Official specs for the R9, 380, 370, 370X, etc. have been released. AMD is starting to tease their new cards. Now, these cards, just like when NVIDIA releases new cards, they're just rebadges of the stuff that's come out before. So the R9 380 is pretty much an R9 290, and so on down the line. And what they haven't teased is the R9 390 or 390X.
Which is what everyone's waiting for.
Which is what everyone's waiting for, because those are the ones that may really give NVIDIA a run for their money, which, like they did last time, I mean, the R9 290 and the 290X came out a little bit after the GTX 7 series. They were faster than most of the GTX 7 series, the ones that were comparable money, and they're still faster or equal to a lot of the NVIDIA cards that are out right now.
For less money.
For much less money. They're also quite a bit warmer, but, you take what you can get.
What did you buy this week, Jeremiah?
But NVIDIA, well, I was going to say, before we move on, NVIDIA, they've done the same thing. People are giving AMD crap for having really hot cards right now. Back when you had your GTX 480s, I forget what AMD card I was using, my 6870, not hot at all. My 7950, not hot. Two 7950s, getting a little bit warm, but just normal SLI warm, no big issues. It wasn't until this latest series that they really got really warm.
That's true,
NVIDIA has gotten cooler, so there'll be fluctuations back and forth. And you can bet that AMD, if they have the opportunity to really beat NVIDIA and it'll still be hot, they're going to do it. And I want them to do that. They've actually said recently, like in the last day or two, they've realized they cannot be competitive and they can't survive as a company just in the lower end of the market. It's good for volume. Being the APU for the PS4 and the Xbox One helped their bottom line a lot, but they need more of the enthusiast market. So to do that, they're going to have to start swinging a little bit harder. And hopefully they'll be doing that. There are new rumors about the R9 390. Of course, they're just rumors. But it's going to come in a short version that has a water cooler and a longer version that's a more traditional fan-cooled model. And the rumor is the performance will be pretty much equal to the R9 295X2.
Oh, on one card.
On one card. The R9 295X2 is the fastest graphics card on the market for games. The Titan X is a more powerful card, but not for games most of the time. It's not designed for games. So if it's a single card that's as fast as a 295X2, that would put it like 70%, 50 to 70% faster than a 980. Like, I don't think the 980 Ti could possibly compete with that unless NVIDIA really has a trick up their sleeve. And if AMD sells that thing for like $600 to $700, they're going to sell out. If they go crazy and like sell it for 500, like, it's going to be a really fun time to hang out on the internet. Yes.
I just had a really good idea.
What's your idea?
There should be a video game where you race graphics cards instead of cars. It's so fast. Continue.
How much of your special lemonade have you had, Debbie?
This is glass number 2.
Nice. Yeah, I honestly, Jeremiah, there could be some serious card swapping going on for me this year. I'm already one card swap in.
To answer your question, I did sell my 290, and I bought a GTX 970. And it is quite a bit cooler. I'm not sweating nearly as much as I normally do. I've lost a few frames per second at 4K, but it's close enough that honestly, like, it's not bothering me that bad.
Yeah.
And I do like the 4K 60 FPS shadow play recording. I'm not going to lie, that's not bad.
I love shadow play so much.
Speaking of which, I have a native 60 FPS 4K Project Cars recording that I'm going to go ahead and just put live right now. It's now live on YouTube.
Nice.
And that's just a quick 5-minute run with changing weather patterns and stuff. So because of the changing weather, the frame rate will drop a little bit throughout the video because it goes from like, it starts out real rainy and it changes to sunny. But this is the straight shadow play video. I just uploaded it. No editing, no touching it, no compression except for what YouTube did to it. So if you guys want to check out how good Project Cars can look, go take a look at it. But yeah, I'm enjoying my 970 so far. No complaints. No real complaints so far.
Now, are you thinking about SLI at all?
Here's the temptation. I mean, The Witcher 3 is coming out. This is basically the justification for everyone's upgrades this year.
Yeah. Speaking of, all right, I'm sweating now. Let's talk about Witcher 3.
Especially when it's about time for it. Sergeant Sledgeham in chat. Drive Club does have good weather, but man, trust me, I rented Drive Club. If you try Project Cars, like, it's on a whole nother level. But The Witcher 3, especially because they've been saying things like, we're not even showing ultra settings. You have to wait for that when it comes out, which I'm guessing means those aren't optimized that well yet. Day 1 patch is hopefully going to fix that. But they're
I don't know about that. I think it's just that they really do appreciate their PC community, for sure.
I read a nice long article interview with the guys at CD Projekt Red, like the founding members.
Was it the Studio History article?
Yeah.
That was a good article.
It was really cool. They started out just importing games and localizing them for Poland because the whole Polish market was just pirating. You just pirate games. This is like in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
so software distribution was different than it is now.
The USSR fell, basically, and then everyone's like, Western games, steal them all.
So they were just translating games and basically porting them over to their audience. And that was going really well. They did the original port of Baldur's Gate for a Polish audience, and then they bought up the video game rights to The Witcher, which is a big deal in Poland, not in many other places in the world. And with The Witcher, the original Witcher, they started with 8 people and got up to 80 people by the time the game was done. That's crazy.
So like DayZ then.
They have hundreds and hundreds of people working on The Witcher 3. Like the amount of improvements between The Witcher and The Witcher 3 is staggering.
Even 1 and 2 was like mind-blowing difference.
It was huge difference, yeah. But it is now time for The Witcher 3 Hypecast.
Woo!
Yeah.
Ah!
Get crazy.
All right.
Is it time to just start dropping facts? I've got some facts.
We're pretty much...
some hard facts.
To go with the hard lemonade. And I think, Jeremiah, you and I are planning like a Witcher 3, just like literal hype video. Just you and I just gushing about The Witcher. That's going to happen sometime over the weekend, hopefully. But the last week has been nuts for Witcher news. Let's start out with this. They're so confident. CD Projekt Red is so confident in their game. A lot of YouTubers and reviewers got their review copies Tuesday, 2 weeks ahead of launch. Now, of course, the NDA for the reviews does not break until launch day, but at midnight on launch day, you're going to have reviewers and YouTubers posting reviews of like 60 hours, probably like 80 hours of gameplay, let's be real here. So you'll get actual reviews. Like, that's how confident they are in the game. We have seen multiple trailers, including a really cool monsters breakdown. The creature design reminds me of like Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Just some really wild creatures combined with like all of the like the Eastern European like fairy tales and all the legends you told your kids in medieval times to tell them, you know, not to stray out of the castle. Just a really cool mix of legend and just really creepy, gross-looking monsters. The trailer that came out today, what was that called? Let me get the name here.
Something in Steel.
The Rage and Steel trailer, just showing combat, and monsters and sword fighting.
The music for that was like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was. Did you see it, Debbie? Oh yeah, you saw it.
Which one?
The trailer that came out today.
Oh yes, I saw it several times.
yeah, everyone saw it several times. I may have gone back and watched like 4 more of the older trailers after that one just to...
And listen to the soundtrack.
I like that they're heavily embracing the fact that they are not a normal RPG. This is a dark, messed up world, and they are going to let you cut the heads off of all of it.
This is Game of Thrones, medieval Poland.
This basically. Me.
I know this is the hype train is. I keep telling Joel the hype train is like Japanese bullet train level. Like it's about to go
magnetic train.
Yeah, I know, it can't be stopped. So outside of all the trailers and screenshots and stuff like that, and actually, before I continue, I'll drop this link for you guys. I was so absorbed in the trailer today, I pulled like 40 screen caps off of it.
So you took a frame of each second of the trailer. Is that what you did?
No, Debbie, it gets worse. I found a 700 megabyte download, like less compressed version of the trailer, imported it into Sony Vegas, and spent like 20 minutes doing screen captures.
Oh, Dave.
So you were real productive at work today. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah. The album looks great. I mean, open the album.
I did. I looked at it. I mean, I tried to look at it. They're really small on my 4K monitor.
Oh, get over it.
It was really fun for me last night sending you Project Cars 4K stuff. Just knowing, drink it in, peasant.
Speaking of, I didn't get no video.
I dropped the links in Teamspeak, but you had already left for the night.
I was turning into a pumpkin, so I had to go to bed.
Well, you could have asked for the links, and I would have sent them to you.
I did. I said email.
On a side note, Debbie.
Late, I was tired.
On a side note, Debbie's pumpkin turning hour has been like moving later and later ever since GTA 5 came out. I've noticed. Like DayZ period, it was like 11 o'clock. Debbie's a pumpkin. Arma, 12 a.m. Debbie's a pumpkin. GTA 5. 2:30 a.m. Debbie's a pumpkin. Like it's pushed back further and further. All it takes
it's 2 a.m. right now is the pumpkin time.
Grand Theft Auto, it'll do it to you. What I was gonna say though, outside of all the trailers and stuff like that, it looks fantastic, and they're obviously confident in the game. There was a very broken live stream where they were all so nervous on the live stream. It was pretty awkward to watch, but we got some cool new info off of a live stream. I'm just going to drop some of my favorite bullet points here that we learned off that stream. The weather patterns in The Witcher are going to play a huge part in just the open world exploration. So you've got snow in the north, obviously, but not just like constantly snow. There's actually snow, like showers, blizzards that come and go. In the more temperate regions, there's different kinds of storms that come and go, and different monsters come out at different times of day and during different kinds of storms. So there are monsters that only come out during like thunderstorms, or maybe only a thunderstorm at night during a full moon. Like there's such like specific stuff that can happen. Monsters actually have layers. It's a similar system to
like ogres
or onions.
It's like Stalker's A-Life system. I always love that in Stalker, where you don't go into an area in the Stalker series and monsters spawn like 100 meters out around you. You enter the area and the game's like, oh, here's where the monsters live. Now they're all wandering about. They can attack you, they can attack NPCs, they can attack each other. The Witcher's like that. Monsters have lairs and like areas where they actually live, they wander, they attack each other, and they attack you. The world is going to feel lived in, like a real place. In combat and in movement, Geralt, his speed will actually be affected by terrain. So fighting in a swamp, you're going to have like the huge footsteps as you're trying to sword fight. So a low level enemy like a Drowner might actually be more of an issue if you can't spin and do all your fancy Witcher sword moves. Speaking of Witcher sword moves, that like sword to sword combat, fighting the bandits, like it reminds me of Chivalry, like just the impactful, the swords, it looks intense. And
it looks like Shadow of Mordor mixed with Dark Souls 2.
Can you just say that again, like just slower for me?
I'll take off the pop shield. It
there you
looks
go.
like Shadow of Mordor mixed with Dark Souls 2.
Okay, I got the Witcher shivers.
But it doesn't have the awkward like pausing during combat that Shadow of Mordor in the Batman series has, which I don't personally care for.
I like it, but I'm glad Witcher does not have it. Yeah.
I want it just to be smooth and fast the entire time. Like I want the blood, I want the heads flying everywhere, I want 60 FPS, 4K ultra glory.
Whoa.
You'll be able to deflect arrows as Geralt, and if you upgrade that ability enough, you can actually deflect them back at the person that fired the arrow, which is totally science right there, guys.
I mean, it is theoretically possible.
And Debbie, these are just for you, because, all right, no, they're for me too, let's be honest.
No, for me. I want something.
You can upgrade your horse armor, change visuals and styles. Different saddles will be able to carry more loot or move faster, depending on your saddle and your saddle bags. You can hang monster trophies off your horse.
Yes.
So you can go out, like hunt a griffin and be like, yeah, I killed that. Hanging off your horse and like trot back into town with the griffin head hanging off your horse. You can put blinders on your horse so he doesn't run away as easily during combat. And a side note for people who aren't familiar with the book series, Geralt's horse is always named Roach. His horse dies a lot, let's just be honest.
No.
But he always names his new horse Roach. So Geralt's horse is always just Roach. And that continues in the game. If your horse dies, you'll get a new horse, and he's just always called Roach. But you can also run into herds of wild horses, and you can use your Axie sign, which is, I believe, it's like stun sign, right, Jeremiah? You can tame wild horses with the Axie sign and ride them bareback for a while.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
Oh. Now I have one nitpicky thing about horses, and Dave already knows this, but
I know what this is, yeah.
The bit on the horse's bridle is not connected to the harness at all. It's actually just the bridle, not the halter. It's a halter and a bit. It's not an actual bridle, and it bugs the piss out of me.
I think it's a bug. It looks like it's floating. I think it's a bug.
Yeah. No, it's not attached, though.
Yeah, but I think it's like a mislink, not like a purposeful design decision, I think.
The link, though, it goes right onto the halter. So the halter should be moved up forward to connect the bit.
You should write them an email.
I should.
Tell them cancel the game. Like, stop the trucks. Stop the presses. Stop the trucks. Shut it down.
But that's not going to stop me from playing it because.
There it is.
Here's something I think is cool. Focusing on one enemy depletes his stamina, so he can't block your attacks any further. So you can actually just beat a guy down till he can't block you anymore, kind of Dark Souls style, and then use that to finish him off. So I think that's pretty cool. You can also focus your build on more swordplay or alchemy, like the different things like you could in the previous games, but they say to more of an extent, alchemy will be a little harder this time, which means I'm basically doing a sword-only build, and I'll just suffer through.
And on the final stop for tonight's Witcher 3 hype train, there was an article that had a pretty clickbaity title that I ran across today. The title of the article was "How the Witcher 3 Changes Open Worlds Forever." Clickbaity title, good article though. They actually talked to the environment artist and the level designer, and what made me excited was this one paragraph right here. And this is, I'm going to cite this because I'm going to read a whole paragraph basically. This is from Gaming Trend. they talked about how in traditional RPG games, you have your storyline, right? They have the storyboard on the wall. They have your plot set up. The work begins on the environment for the game. And they say, all right, we need this castle here, this battle here. These are the plot points that are going to actually connect. For The Witcher, they started writing the story and the environment, working on the environment at the same time. They took the existing maps of just the continent. It has no actual name in the Witcher universe, just the continent. And they created the world first. So they have like, all right, well, this is the map of the area. This is where the capital city is. This is where Novigrad is. This is where the Witcher's castle is. Here's these different regions all across the map. So they have villages set up on like riverways where there would actually be a village. Not because there's a quest there, but because there's a water source and trade. And it's away from these monsters over here. So the world was built as the storyline was written. And then the story was placed into the world. And what this guy said in the article was that it gives the world this ridiculous sense of believability where you're not following quest markers, you're exploring a place where there's just events that happen in that place. And he said that it really feels like a legitimate world. He says here that it's as functional and dangerous as it is beautiful.
It's going to be a lot of from Dave lately.
Yeah, which reminds me, I got to put in my vacation time for the 19th.
I'm thinking, Dave, I'm thinking I may see if I can take a day off with you. I'll have to take breaks to answer phone calls and stuff from clients because freelancing means you can't actually take days off.
Yeah.
But I will try to schedule it so I don't have any other things going on that day.
You know that we're not actually going to be talking at all. We'll just be sending texts back and forth like,
yeah, we can just check in every once in a while.
Like,
yeah, check in and be like,
are you live? Yes, yeah. I'm live.
Hold me. I'm holding you, bro. All right, cool.
I'm still holding.
Oh my.
Oh, it's going to be...
Debbie, pretend like you don't want to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, Debbie, how hyped are you? Let's be
I'm
honest
hyped,
here.
but I'm not going to be holding anybody.
Fine. I'll hold Jeremiah. I'm here for him. We're book readers, Debbie, okay?
Hey, I read one book, okay?
You did, actually. That's right.
I did.
Oh, don't give her a consolation prize.
Stop it!
Wow, one book.
Oh,
well,
shit, your trap.
That was the compilation of short stories, though, right? Wasn't it, Debbie? Like
that for page, that was one of the more enjoyable ones, just because it gets right to individual little stories. And let's be honest, the Witcher books drag a little bit.
You say that about every fantasy series. I like
not every fantasy series, just the ones just like Game of Thrones, which if anyone thinks that doesn't drag,
it dragged and I enjoyed every bit of it. So
I didn't say you can't enjoy it, but it drags. Like it definitely drags.
Yeah.
Dragging isn't always bad, but that game drags. Or sorry, that series drags, and the TV show drags, and the Witcher books drag.
Every second of it.
That's fine.
Witcher actually is a pretty long series for the overarching plot. It's a very long series.
It definitely is.
Like it's like, what is it, 7 books for the overarching series?
Yeah. 7 books. Speaking of books, which contain writing, you can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Did you see how far that segue reached?
All right, judges, let's give it a score. I'm going to give that a 3.2.
Bet you didn't think I could do it.
0.3.
Oh, shut up.
Oh,
Boo you.
More lemonade, Debbie.
Yes, please.
All right, you can write into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com. We have 4 bits of mail tonight. First piece is from Mr. Poofy, who I do believe is in chat. We're reading his first, so if he needs to send any follow-up, he can. He says, "Hi, big fan of you guys. I'm Mr. Poofy on Twitch. I'm going to buy a new PC. I'm building it myself, but for now, I really need a new monitor." He has a Clevo laptop right now. It's too small to use the keyboard and pushed back on his desk. He has the BenQ 24-inch LED monitor and an Asus LED monitor. They're pretty much the same. They have different dynamic contrast ratios. Not that that really matters, but because in case you guys didn't know, dynamic contrast doesn't really mean anything in the real world, and that's just a meaningless feature people use to sell you monitors. But he has those 2 monitors, and he wants to know, what do you guys recommend? Do you have another one in the same price range he could look at? His price range is about £200. I believe it's pounds. He's from Portugal. The symbol he typed out appears to be pounds or euros. Actually, I think it might be euros. So for 200 euros, do we have anything to recommend? So the Asus monitor is a 24-inch LED like it's not an IPS, but it's a 24-inch 1080p LED monitor. Retails for like $190. I'm gonna look up the BenQ. Mr. Poofy, it depends on what you actually want to do with it. So do you want 14 or 144 hertz maximum frame rates? Do you want the best visual quality? Do you want the best viewing angles? Do you want the biggest screen you can possibly get for the money? Like, you need to let us know what you want to do.
A lot of options, yeah.
Both of those monitors you sent us are nice. They're not IPS monitors, but they're LED 24-inch 1080p monitors. Those are perfectly decent. So if you're still in chat, write back to us. Let us know what your priorities are, and we'll make some recommendations, because there definitely are some good monitors in your price range. But next bit of mail is from Evan. Evan wrote in and said he's going to send in a couple card ideas for Joel's Nebula game, which we'll talk about a bit later. Joel's not here to plug it, so we'll plug it a little for him. But he says, anyway, keep up with the podcast. I'm always fishing for creative game talk to get me through the workday or week, and it seems like a lot of these guys trying to do so regurgitate the same BS the last guy already published. And not to mention the production, sound, lighting, and the casts are typically mediocre at best.
Sounds like YouTube.
But regardless of all the nice lighting and efforts that Jerm puts in, the one dynamic that makes you guys work is the fact that you've all known each other and seem to have been gaming together for a really long time and can poke fun at each other without a second thought. Even when you had the
there's no second thoughts on the insults.
There's no first thought. Even when you had the Dark Souls guys on, it was the same vibe.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the point where Dave is at with Arma 3 mods and spending 900 hours on it. I catch you guys every week, and I feel guilty that I'm getting quality entertainment for free. Casual out. There always is Patreon. Yeah, there's always Patreon if you feel like it's too free. No, I'm
too much guilt.
Potato Masher 2, anybody?
No, but thank you, Evan. Sincerely, thank you. That means a lot to hear that you enjoy the podcast. We decided a long time ago that there are things we could do that would get more views and would probably make us more popular, but it wasn't the type of stuff we wanted to do, and neither of our channels is real big. They're growing at a nice slow pace. Dave's of course a lot bigger than mine, but we like what we do.
I moved up to a medium-sized glacier pace of growth.
But we really like what we do, and we'd rather be doing stuff the way we are than any other way that could possibly get us more views or anything else. So,
guys, if I wanted to cash out, my channel would have been Minecraft years ago.
But yeah, thank you, Evan. Next piece is from Shane. Shane left this comment, not Shane Ultragrunt Shane, different Shane. He left this comment on a video or two and then wrote into the show. I told him we'd answer it here. Hey guys, when setting up your PCs, what settings do you change inside Windows? More specifically, do you make any changes to the services, msconfig, or the registry? Do you disable unwanted services, or do you go into the registry and turn things off to squeeze extra performance out of your PCs? Keep up the good work, guys. Dave, what do you do? Do you do anything?
Since I passed the 8 gig RAM mark and went to 16, I really don't do any kind of under the hood tweaking. Now, Edgar, Yaka would be a great person to ask about that, because whenever a new build of Windows comes out, the first thing he does is download it to a USB drive and then start taking things out of it. He trimmed his Windows 8 build. He had like a custom USB installation to use with his key. Like, he had a legit copy that he customized and got it down to, like, I think he said like 3.4 gigs for the install. Like, it was insanely tiny. It's like, it all works so great unless I plug anything in USB wise, it just won't work. Like, there were like no drivers, like nothing extra. It was just his desktop and his games, basically, which is cool. But honestly, like, the extra frame it might get me is really not worth my time. I don't think.
Debbie, do you change anything? I think I know the answer, but
yeah, you know the answer.
Well, you're another host tonight. I'm asking you, okay?
Well, it's more like you change everything when you're here.
I did come to visit. I've got Debbie running GTA 5 super sampled at 1440p using NVIDIA Dynamic Super Resolution, which is awesome. People say it's just a really expensive form of anti-aliasing. It isn't. Everything looks so much better.
It's less expensive, actually.
It does. Yeah, I think it is amazing.
It looks awesome. She's running it, and I overclocked her graphics card and her processor, and she, at least for the bit I was playing, was routinely getting like well above 60 FPS doing that with very high settings on. So, so Debbie doesn't make any tweaks. I don't really make any tweaks on my own computer. I turn off the Microsoft user account control thing that bugs you every time you try to do something. I turn that off the first thing I do on any computer just because it's annoying. But actually on the Potato Masher, because Shane asked this on a Potato Masher video, I have actually done a little bit of customization. Because this is supposed to be...
The truth comes out. Why would you lie on YouTube, Jeremiah?
Well, because this is supposed to be like a replacement for a PlayStation 4, I'm not treating it the same way I would treat, say, my computer. When I play a game on my computer, there's probably 10 other programs running at the same time. All my browsers are up. Like, my computer is idling. It idles at like 7 gigs of usage most of the time, of memory usage, just because I've got the memory. It doesn't matter. And it's not really, I've got plenty of extra processor headroom. Like, it's fine. This is my work computer. It can handle a little bit of abuse. But on the Potato Masher, my goal is to not run anything that's not necessary for gaming. It can do everything we need it to do. But, like when I'm going to test some games on it, I make sure I'm not running any junk processes. I don't let Skype idle in the background. I don't let it do anything else, just like a console would do. When I'm gaming, I'm gaming.
Right.
So the only tweaks I've really done is I did some tweaking to the page file, just so it would be less annoying. This was during the Battlefield 4 test where we were running over the 4 gig RAM limit, and the page file was just torching stuff. So it actually was better with no page file than it was with a page file. And then I do disable antivirus if I'm going to test something. I disable the real-time protection. I don't get rid of antivirus just because it can come on randomly and decide it wants 500 megabytes of memory and 20% of your CPU to do some scan, and you don't really have any control over that. And since I'm trying to do a pretty standardized test, I don't want something taking a significant percentage of the computer's performance away out of the blue. So I do disable that. Now, you don't have to do that, but that's just to kind of make things more standardized. But yeah, I do a few little tweaks like that. It doesn't gain you any performance. Like, there's no shortcut to magically getting more performance. But it does make things a little bit better. One thing you can do if you're still using Windows 7, I don't know if Windows 8's bad about this, but if you turn off indexing, if you don't need your drives indexed, it just makes searches faster. Depending on what content you have, if you turn off indexing, that actually can free up a lot of background headroom that you may not know about. So if you're struggling to run, like if you have an old computer, you're struggling to run some newer games, try disabling indexing and see if it helps. But that's all I have for that. And our last bit of mail.
I was waiting for you to be like, I only made a few small tweaks to the Potato Masher. I only put one 980 in after the initial build, just to help with the benchmarks. And then I just tweaked those drivers in Windows to get them all set up.
And then the last bit is from Liam, or I Slarko, if we ever come across him in GTA. Shameless plug, join the Seal Slappers. If you guys are playing GTA, when we do missions, we send out invites to everyone on the crew who's playing GTA at that moment. So you might get a random invite from us while you're playing GTA. If you get it, come join us. Hop into the Teamspeak. We want you guys to come play with us. Hop into the Teamspeak. We're on there Eastern Standard Time, usually about 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. every night almost, playing GTA. So,
and on a second side note,
yes,
we started making custom missions, and you guys, I'm going to put a link in the chat here, can actually add these missions to your game from Social Club, so you'll actually see like the little marker in the game. So play our missions, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, it is. And we might do like some community event where we invite people to come out and do races and team deathmatch and stuff, the custom ones soon. But yeah, join the Seal Slappers on the Rockstar Social Club. But Liam did not write in to say that. He said, hey guys, been a long-term fan of the podcast, been catching up on YouTube since I'm across the pond in the UK. He's been watching ever since episode 1 after originally getting hooked on the DayZ videos of old. I've finally gotten around to taking the plunge, and I'm getting back to the PC Master Race after being a peasant for far too many years. However,
don't worry, the dust and all the dirt comes right off.
However, due to not quite having the funds at the time of the build and lasting a grand total of running like 24 hours with onboard graphics, I figured I could last a month till I had the money for a decent card, but he used whatever he had left to buy the current GPU he has, and frankly, I was stupid on both accounts. He was stupid for running integrated graphics and then thinking he'd upgrade later, and he was stupid for buying the GPU he bought to hold him over. So please help me out. I have a budget of roughly £150, so roughly $200 to $225. Here's his current build. An i7 4770, boosted to 3.9 gigahertz. 8 gigs of RAM, Corsair 600 watt power supply, cheap motherboard. And here's his GPU, a Radeon HD 7771 gigabyte model. That is a crappy GPU. That's
an old GPU,
$50,
right?
$60 GPU. That's probably 3.5 years old at this point.
Okay.
And it was a budget, it was a 750, like a GTX 750.
Yeah.
3.5 years old.
Yeah.
So not great. SLI or Crossfire is a complete no-go due to the cheap motherboard. As always, slap a seal, stay casual, keep up the great work, guys. So $200 to $225 for a graphics card. Debbie, what would you recommend?
Yes.
Something besides what he has.
I can recommend mine.
Your GTX 770 is a good card.
It's a really good card.
And they are selling like on sale and used for $200, $225.
No, less than that now, I think. I think like
Really?
180 used. So that's a good idea.
If you want a used card, a GTX 770 is really good. It is faster than a GTX 960, the card that replaced it. So, but if you want a new card, a GTX 960 is a good card. If you want to stick with AMD, you can get an R9 290 for $225. If you can push that budget to $230, you can easily get a new R9 290, or if you want to get one used, you can get one for like $200. That is the fastest card you can get for that amount of money. That is as fast as a GTX 970 for any high resolution gaming, and then it trades back and forth with the 970 for everything else. At 1080p, the 970 is a little bit faster, but it's like $100 more expensive, so, or 50% more expensive. So that's probably what we'd recommend. GTX 960, GTX 770, or an R9 290. And if you want a new AMD card, R9 280X.
And honestly, I'm always going to be like a big proponent of buying used cards one generation behind.
Yep.
I did that for years, and it works so well. Like you buy one gen behind, maybe even like the top of the line card one gen behind used, and then in a year, if you really want like to crank up everything to ultra, get a second one used for half of what you paid for the first one in SLI or Crossfire. Like, used cards are a pretty sweet deal.
Wolfio Guns in chat asked, Scoto in chat mentioned the AMD 7950. Pierogi mentioned the 7850. Those are both great cards. The 7950 overclocked, honestly, is pretty comparable to a GTX 770. I had one for a while. As you guys know, I've had most of the cards that are available in the market.
What haven't you had?
But that makes me a good source of information. And yes,
you video card consumerist whore.
For the money,
Just about to say that.
I maintain that the 7950 is one of the best video cards your money could possibly buy you.
Yeah.
For $130 new right now.
And you just put that in John's computer, right?
Just put a used one in John's computer for $100. That game can play 1440p at perfectly like medium 60 FPS, 1440p, high 1080p. Like that is a seriously good card.
Yep.
It's probably a little bit faster than the card we put into the Potato Masher, and it was our standby card to go in the Potato Masher until we could get a GTX 760 for brand new for a cheap price. Had we known the 760 was going to skyrocket back in price when the 9 series came out, we might have gone ahead and gotten the 7950. It would have spared me about 300 YouTube comments at this point complaining about the price of the 760. But it's the 7950 is a really good card. Wolfio Guns also asks, if you guys have a bit of time to answer an extra question, how is the GTX 560 Ti? My question would be, for what amount of money? If you own the card, you're wondering how good it is. Does it play everything you want to play? If so, awesome. It's a good card. If it doesn't play everything you want it to play, the truth is that's not a very fast card by today's standards. If you're going to buy one, I'd spend $40 on one, $30. I wouldn't spend a lot more than that because $60, $75 can get you like, what, a 580, Dave?
Yeah. And today I was benchmarking a little bit of GTA 5 on a 580 at 1600 by 900 in a window. I was doing high settings like 45 to 50 FPS. Well, 45 to 60, honestly. It would hit 60 at times.
And how much RAM does your work computer's 580 have?
1.5. No, it's a 3 gig model.
It's a 3 gig model. Okay.
So that probably helps, but
yeah. Also, guys, you can expect in the next week or two, I'm going to have my impressions of the memory issues with the GTX 970, the famous memory issues. Since I have a 4K monitor, since we're talking about graphics cards, I'm a little better poised to push the memory harder than most people because 4K resolution, especially like if you turn on anti-aliasing, that will really start using up your VRAM. So I'm going to be pushing my 970 as hard as I possibly can, and I'm going to see if I can make the RAM crap out, the VRAM, just because I think you guys deserve to know.
And because I'm begging you to do the research for me.
Yeah.
How awful would it be if I return a 970 in March to get a 980 because of the RAM issue, and then you benchmark 970 SLI and say, actually, this is a pretty good experience. And in May, I return the 980 to get two 970s.
What would be really bad is if you still experience stuttering after that. But
oh, my nightmare.
But I have an inferior power supply to use. So if it works for me, like if I'm not crapping out on power or anything else, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Wolfio followed up and said, I've been using the 560 Ti for a little over 2 years. I don't mind it. I'm just really ignorant when it comes to video and the way games look. There's nothing wrong with that, Wolfio. If it plays everything you want to play, you are totally fine. The whole point of our Potato Masher series is really not to crap on the PS4, is to show that you do not have to spend a lot of money to get an amazing gaming experience on a PC. And a 560 Ti, honestly, I bet that can play most games, like it can probably play anything at 720p, and it can probably play most games at 900p or 1080p with medium-ish settings or low to medium settings. And most modern games look great even on their lower settings. So if it plays everything you want to play, dude, keep using it. Use it till, like the old saying goes, drive it till the wheels fall off. There's no reason to upgrade it if it's doing everything you need to do.
Burn it till the fan spins out.
Which on my last 970 was about a week.
Yeah, it did not take long. Well, the problem was, Jeremiah, it was just all the old heat still in your room from your 290. You just killed the 970.
Yeah, dude, we're actually we're flying through the podcast tonight. Look at this. It's just Joel's
we had
not
tons
here.
of extra.
Screw you, Joel.
Oh.
Well, okay.
But yeah, screw you, Joel.
Well, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, to be fair to Joel, like he's a co-host. It's tons of fun to have him on the podcast. Like I miss Joel's shenanigans, but we do move a lot faster without the shenanigans.
but anytime the podcast drags, ultimately it's my responsibility because I don't want to say the main host because that implies that I'm on a higher level than you guys, which is not at all true. But I'm the
you're the podcast pope.
You're the responsible one.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm the primary host when it comes to keeping everything organized. I do the hosting most of the time. So when the podcast drags, it's my fault. But we did have some extra news we can talk about, Dave. Did you want to talk about DirectX 12, the news that came out this week?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure, go ahead. Now, since it's super technical video card news, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk about it. This isn't
Debbie, how about I explain it to you in a way that would be interesting for you? That might.
I was actually going to take this opportunity to take a quick break, but
Debbie needs to go
ahead.
She needs to pee the booze out so she can fill it back up.
That was a lot of booze, man.
All right, carry on. I'll explain it to Jeremiah.
Debbie, what you should have done is explain it to me and then just leave.
All right, go on, Dave. Explain it to me.
I am very interested in video cards. Please continue.
I love video cards. Ah.
So, most modern CPUs have a integrated graphics chip on the CPU. Is that correct, Jeremiah?
Yes, and what is that good for?
DayZ, apparently. Intel CPUs can play DayZ.
For anyone who doesn't who uses integrated graphics?
People who either don't want, can't afford, aren't interested in a graphics card, maybe they can't upgrade to one. It's just an option for doing more than just displaying a browser on your CPU.
But that's what everyone who has a workstation computer at their work who just does email and Microsoft Office and stuff, they probably have integrated graphics.
Basically.
It used to be integrated into the board itself. It was like a small graphics card on the motherboard.
Yeah.
But in recent years, they've pretty much completely gotten rid of those, I believe. And it's now entirely a little chip on the CPU.
Yes.
Continue.
And the neat part is it comes with a CPU. It's just one of the CPU features. It's like a backup. It's just always there. The problem is it's not really useful if you have a GTX 980, for example. I mean, it's just going to sit there and idle. However, DirectX 12 is supposed to change how multiple graphics cards work, where you could have a 970 and a 980 in SLI together. Or you could have a 980, a 970 SLI, and then also add your integrated graphics chip to the mix to give you like another 3 or 4 FPS.
I'm still real skeptical. I just don't believe that those companies are going to get along well enough for that to happen. But I really want that to be true.
It's not up to them though. It's not at the driver level. It's like it's the API level.
If they figure out a way to block it in the drivers, it's totally up to them. That's what I'm just nervous. Like, it just seems like something they would both 100% totally do.
The key to this is going to be if they make it as part of the API standards that says if your card is going to be a DirectX 12 branded card, then here is what you have to support this. You cannot block these features. Like if they say multi-GPU, like cross-GPU compatibility is a feature of DirectX 12, if you want that DX12 on your box, which my 980 box is over there on the wall. NVIDIA's already branding their like DX12 cards with DX12, nice big logo on it. If they want that, they're going to have to play by the rules. In theory. We'll see how it ends up.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like a wet blanket. I really want that to be the case. That would be and also, really cool.
A second word of caution is that from what the article is saying is it won't just be a matter of you throw a few more cores onto the rendering pile. It sounds like the API will have to specifically assign a certain task that can be rendered outside of the frames. An example that was given in the article was post-processing. Maybe your depth of field is rendered on your integrated graphics. Actually, that's kind of heavy. Maybe... what could you render it for 4 or 5 FPS?
Just anti-aliasing?
Nope.
No?
Definitely not. Post effects. Motion blur
and post effects, yeah.
Motion blur and post effects. So that was the example in the article. And so you probably have to have not only the API taking advantage of that, but also the game. So it's not like the second coming of just free frames, but if it becomes easy enough to write the code for it, we might see it more often, and any little boost would be cool.
Yeah.
Or for games like The Witcher, you'd have Geralt's beard completely computed on your CPU integrated graphics. All that nice flowing beard action.
Dave is way too excited about realistic hair in video games. Like, I have to hear about this crap all the time.
NVIDIA Hairworks, man, is the future. I want to see Geralt's beard flowing.
I mean, the AMD Tress FX also worked pretty well, just throwing that out there, but...
It did. I wouldn't know because I turned it on and got 3 FPS.
But, yeah, DirectX 12, maybe cool things coming. That's what we'll leave it at. Maybe really cool stuff coming. That's all our news. And Debbie, are you back?
I'm back.
It sounded like you were back.
Really?
It did, yep.
Because I had it on mute.
I know, but I can hear when you click the switch.
You can?
Yeah, I hear it. It's just, it's not a big deal. It's just the connection coming back. It's no biggie. It's no biggie.
Okay.
Podcast ruined. We were almost done, Debbie.
No biggie. Don't be cry.
In 2 weeks, some promotional stuff. In 2 weeks, we're going to have the Dollar-Wise Gamers on. They're 2 cool guys. Their podcast is all about like the best way to get the most for your money out of games. What games are a good buy for your time? What games are respectful of your money and your time? And they come at it from the perspective of 2 fully grown guys who don't have teenager time to play games anymore, which we're kind of all at that now. We just relentlessly push our actual lives to the side when things like GTA come out. But they're cool guys. Shout out to them. They're going to be on in 2 weeks, and we have some cross-promotional stuff planned, so that should be a really good time. And as Joel told you about last week, you should go check out the Nebula from Hell on Kickstarter. His Kickstarter is almost halfway funded now.
No, it's more. It's rolling today.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's at 667.
Sweet. It's pretty cool. And he is running a contest. If you would like to win a copy of the board game, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com with your best action card or action cards. And if you're not sure what those are, go look at the Kickstarter or the website, the Nebula from Hell. Dave has posted a link in chat on Twitch, and it will be in the description of the podcast if you have the audio version or you're watching this on YouTube.
And I'm also going to put a direct link to the Facebook post talking about the contest, where you can win a free copy of the game.
Nice. So yeah, and
if Facebook loads.
And even if you don't win a free copy of the game, if you listen to this podcast and you want to get the special Casual Shenanigans action and bonus card pack, which we wrote specifically for people who listen to the podcast, it's pretty much just inside jokes.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
If you're one of the first 5 people to kickstart the game who listens to this podcast and writes into Joel or writes into us with your order number from Kickstarter, some proof that you kickstarted the game and bought the board game, Joel will mail you a copy of the Casual Shenanigans card pack, the expansion pack. So that's really cool. If he was on here to promote it, he'd probably have more stuff to say. But it is a legitimately fun game. You should definitely check it out. And I'm sure Joel will be talking about it more next week.
It is kind of a quiet podcast without sneaky snake oil salesman Joel to peddle his wares himself.
Debbie, do you have anything you want to sell?
No. Thank you.
I've just tried.
Do you have any homemade baked goods, possibly?
I mean, I can make drinks for people and sell them.
I would, if you were mixing drinks at a bar, I would buy some of them. I'm not going to lie.
Oh.
Debbie knows the way to me passed out.
Trust me, it takes a while. Jeremiah's not.
I do have a couple of Joelisms to share.
Do you?
Yes.
If that's
it's
a thing.
time for 90 seconds with Joelisms, a part of the show. All right, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, this first one I was not there for,
Is
but
this
James
all recent
was.
stuff?
Yeah, this is all in the document.
If you guys don't know what Joelisms are, and she's not kidding about the document, we have a running Word doc, or Google Doc, where we keep track of all the weird and ridiculous stuff that Joel says, so we can just bring it out whenever we feel like it.
Yeah. So, this first one comes from a conversation between Joel and James. Joel and James. And Joel said, "You will freaking blow everyone's minds into their skulls." And then James said, "Where the hell else would their minds be?" There's no context, I don't know it. But the last two...
So close, Joel.
It's so close, yet so far. The last two I was there for. And this one is kind of ironic, because he said, "You know what? There hasn't been many good Joelisms in a while. They've been slow pickings." And then I said, "You mean the slim pickings?"
Their pickings have been slowing down a lot.
Yeah, I just slowly picked them out of the air.
He gets so close every time.
And the final one was Joel saying to me, "Stupid PC master race people, stop showing off your graphics. Hold it in your pants." And I'm like, "What?" Joel, I think you meant keep it in your pants.
Only peasants complain about people showing off. See, console players, they say graphics don't matter until someone shows off better graphics, and then they complain about it nonstop and rationalize. And then graphics don't matter until the PS4 runs at 120p higher than the Xbox One, and no one will shut up about it. Or if it has 5 more frames, then people won't shut up about it. But no, graphics don't matter. Definitely not.
And Progy, to answer your question, the document is hidden. Our eventual goal is to have 365 Joelisms and to create a Joelism, like Joelism of the day calendar. Just, I don't know if I can handle that though.
Everyone could.
This was created, when was it?
How many are we up to now?
August 7th of last year, and we're up to 44.
Dang, not bad.
On the beach vacation, I had to have it open on my phone at all times because he was dropping like 3 or 4 a day.
When he and John were playing Dark Souls, that Dark Souls 2 video, like just Dark Souls things on my channel, that is all real stuff that they said that we just wrote down. Like, none of that was scripted. That's stuff they said in like an hour.
I was sitting there on the couch with my laptop open, just typing ferociously because I could not keep up with them. It was ridiculous. Like, we were just constantly laughing at them just playing Dark Souls. Like, it was just so funny. And they're like, "Guys, stop it. We're trying to concentrate." I'm like, "God, stop talking."
Dave, do you have a comment of the week for us this week?
I do have a comment of the week, but before I give a comment of the week, I have a live DayZ update.
Oh,
Whoa.
my.
It is currently 3 a.m. in Prague. There's been no experimental updates for 3 weeks now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time for DayZ. It's a big update. It just got pushed through the Steam Content Delivery Network finally at 3 a.m. Brian Hicks tweeted like 30 minutes ago that it was just going live for download, and someone replied, "Do we get a change log?" Which, of course, you don't for experimental anyway. And he just replied, "It's 3 a.m. Ask me in the morning."
Is that it?
So that's the DayZ update. But for the comment of the week, and I'm loading this up now, the armor mission that I just kind of tossed together with the new RHS Russian and American units. We played that Monday. I tossed it up on the Steam Workshop, and one of the first comments on the mission was this. And this is with perfect punctuation and grammar and spelling. Totally ludicrous. Awful scenario in district. I don't know.
Awful scenario and district?
End district. I don't know what a district is. I think scenario means mission. I don't know why it's ludicrous. I'm just really confused. But that's the first feedback I got.
I'm guessing he doesn't like the map.
So maybe awful mission and map is what he meant to say?
Perhaps.
I didn't make the map. I don't know.
Did you make the mission?
I did make the mission, in fact. Which it actually was a bit broken this morning. There was no end state still.
You shot stuff like it's a pretty normal mission. Like it's not.
It says in the first line, in this simple mission, and then it has a 2-line description. It says estimated time 1 hour. So I don't think you're supposed to expect much. I don't know about that.
Can't please them all, but
can't please anyone on the internet.
Debbie, you know what does please everybody?
What?
The Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast does.
It does.
Do you know where people can go if they want more casual shenanigans?
On the internet. You can tweet us at casualshenanigans on Twitter. Email us at casualshenanigansgaming@gmail.com.
Just casualshenanigans@gmail.com.
Oh, I don't even know our email.
Have you written into the show before, Debbie?
And I would give you a website link, but there is no website.
I'm so it's complicated.
I can help. Use my services.
That wasn't a public thing,
Debbie. Do you do websites? I thought you had to warm up to websites.
Debbie,
I thought
you do understand that we've never mentioned that live until now. You literally are just spoiling that on air.
Well, you should have told me that.
I didn't know you were going to bring it up.
Or maybe everyone just assumes that a podcast with a decent viewership and a large community should have a website.
Alert.
I've started working on a website, guys. It depends on how many other things I'm working on for work.
Let's clarify. You started working on a website a while ago and then you stopped.
See, me mentioning this is just putting a little fire under your butt to get going.
So where else can people find us, Debbie?
All I know is Twitter and Twitter.
Which is?
At Casual Shenanigans. I already said it.
And?
That's the only Twitter account I know.
And JERMgaming and Evil Viking. And on YouTube.
Oh, yes. You guys
and Evil Viking 13.
Twitters.
And actually, I wanted to say, because we've been talking so much about GTA 5, if you guys want a direct link to some of our GTA 5 shenanigans, I do have one Casual Shenanigans in Grand Theft Auto 5 video up on youtube.com/evilviking13. It's good fun.
Cool.
It's lots of clothes shopping and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much all we do is just clothes
I cut
shop,
most of that out.
Clothes shop.
Debbie pre-games each night of GTA by doing clothes shopping for hours before we get on. And then we clothes shop afterwards again.
Well, I pre-game in my apartment with whiskey and wine. Like, together.
And then she hops on GTA and then pre-games in her apartment there.
You jerk.
That correct, jerk?
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. But, guys, in all seriousness, thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching the show. You can support us on Patreon. It pays for cool things like the Teamspeak channel, which you are welcome to use. Bring your friends in. You guys want to set up a gaming night or something. If you need a special channel set up within it, just let one of us know. We'll be happy to help you out. That is a community channel. You guys are welcome to use it. It also pays for things like the Potato Masher, which cool things are coming for that soon. And it pays to keep the podcast hosted. I can't say it pays to keep the lights on because honestly I pay the electric bill myself, but it pays for the podcast hosting, and we appreciate all that. We appreciate your support.
Let's be honest here, you just downgraded from a 290. Like, it couldn't pay the electric bill. You could barely pay the electric bill, let alone Patreon.
I'm curious to see if that changes some, but with that, everybody,
I actually, on a side note, I heard that a 970 upgrading from like a last-gen NVIDIA hot card or a last-gen AMD hot card could be like $4 or $5 of electricity difference a month, like if you game a lot. So
that's not bad.
That's significant, noticeable for sure.
That's decent, yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll see you guys on
Anytime.
TeamSpeak in just a couple minutes. But
For what? Whatever will we do on TeamSpeak?
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
even know. You guys
Are
should
we
come
actually
hang
gonna play
out.
game?
We're gonna play games. I can't even imagine what game we might play.
Oh my!
If only
I
some
love
good games would
games.
come out this year, we could play
I know.
together.
Think of how much hard our Game of the Year thing is going to be this year.
We're gonna have like a Game of the Wars contest or something.
We need to have like just 20 subcategories, like single player RPG, medieval fantasy, game of the year, online survival simulator, realistic style, game of the year.
But
There's a lot
yep,
of good
thank you
games.
everyone for coming out. And as always, stay casual.